the guidance of the future, the shamanic wisdom come in the connection of AI and the ethics that we combine is really critical. And I've been called to consecrate this sacred matrimonial marriage, which is what the lunar eclipse in Pisces is all about. As you hit the thumbs up and the likes button, I give you an early heads up that our early bird is coming to a close in about 8 days, August 24th. You see it pinned in the chat, maybe up here. Be one of the 5 shamans, be one of the 5 mystics, be one of the 5 oracles. Now let's get into the message as you hit the thumbs up and likes button on this full moon, lunar eclipse, and Pisces. And so to do that, I'm going to bring up my chart. Where you at, chart? Okay, so we have the social nerves of union and conduct that we're going to be talking about today. And I have my chart over here. I thank you for those thumbs up that we'll be talking about there as well. So this September 7th, 2025, the lunar eclipse in Pisces is one of divine receptivity. Now, here's the major reason why. Number one element of this eclipse in Pisces that we must talk about. And over here, I have the fact that Jupiter, the ruler of Pisces, the whole entire eclipse, the traditional ruler, Jupiter, is going to be in Cancer. And it sits exalted in Cancer, as I see birds up on the rooftop right there. And so this is a call to prepare your sacred space, your internal space. But let's go a little bit deeper into what Jupiter's role is as it exalts in Cancer. So the Sabian Symbol, step 1. Hey JLo, what's going on? The Sabian Symbol, step 1, is going to represent a priest who's ruling this lunar eclipse in Pisces. It's a priest performing a marriage ceremony. So we have to ask ourselves, like, what does this mean? And it really comes down to the sanctification of your conduct, your social conduct, and your emotional hygiene that we experience and cleanse and bring in as a form of new resilience when it comes to emotional and behavioral patterns and how we would marry, any sense of guidance, especially the guidance that we receive from our past experiences, which Jupiter in Cancer is going to be informing a lot. Your experiences, your past, your guilts, your regrets, your shames, as well as your excitements, your exuberance, your radiance, your joy, the ways and things that have nourished you, the people that have nourished you, the mentors, the guidance that have nourished you. These are going to be your teachers from the past. Jupiter in Cancer, ruling, a karmic sign like you see right here, Pisces. And Pisces represents the experience that we have in mentorship, the experience we have in spiritual stewardship. And so this code of conduct is really a sacred union between the rituals that you have implemented, the ones that literally nourish you. This is very critical, very important, as well as the community and the places that you belong, because this is what Cancer represents with Jupiter in Cancer, which you see pretty much up top here. And Jupiter Cancer is like, hey, what community do I belong? What community, what people, what tribe, what traditions belong in my day life that actually nourish me, that make me feel safe, that make me feel secure, and how can I sanctify through my own emotional ethics, through my own spiritual codes of conduct, through my social nerves that you see right here. How can I marry, like a priest at the altar, these diverse parts of what I feel and the diverse parts of what, aka Cancer representing empathy, the people across from me feel, and how I feel what they feel and I feel what I feel, but I'm also marrying the boundaries that are necessary in order to engage and interact with said people across from me as well as with myself in a way that no longer betrays me, allows me to actually nourish myself so that I can give, not just from a cup that is overflowing, but from a cup that is literally allowing me to embrace more divine receptivity, which is coming through rest. So it's like me sitting down, a little earlier today. I don't even like talking about this very much, but a little bit earlier today, I'm laying down, I'm preparing for this live, and a payment came through and it said, hey, by the way, while you're resting, check this payment. And I'm like, And I said, yes. And I just kind of like softly said out loud to myself, key word in this instance was softly, in a gentle way, but in an excited way. I was still radiant. Yes. Because I was resting in bed while actually receiving income, generating wealth, generating earnings, things that I have worked for and prepared in private that none of you see on this live. Y'all don't see what I have to do to prepare this material to make this thing look like this, or the material to create a 5-week alchemical circle of AI and activations bridging the past and the future. You don't see that effort, right? This is the divine receptivity. What you do in dark will eventually come to the light. And this Pisces eclipse is actually helping us to embrace divine receptivity, not just through rest, but through the excitement of receiving the things that we have prepared, the things that have been done in the dark, the work that we have done, the spiritual discipline to actually face our regrets, face the things that have troubled us, face the things we felt guilty about, face the ways in which we felt shame, where, oh man, I was in this relationship and you know what, like I betrayed my emotions. You know what, I betrayed what I truly needed. I betrayed my own personal boundaries and it bothered the hell out of me. But it's like facing that, realizing I don't need to continue this story. I don't need to punish myself beyond the traumas that have already occurred. I can take these stories, I can take this wisdom. This is what the journey of the trickster, Pisces, wants us to understand. Pisces is a trickster energy through divinity, through God, taking you through the hero's journey, your own personal hero's journey. Now, let's talk about it. This eclipse is going to be very, very powerful, okay? 96, whatever that is, that's another 6. We're talking Venus, which is going to be a part of this message because who is here? Venus and Leo. But we're going to talk about Venus and Leo, and there's a reason why. Why? Not just because Pisces exalted in Leo, aka Venus, but because because the moon right here, okay, the moon in Pisces is quincunx. So there's this complex relationship that I'm going to be talking about very soon between Leo and Pisces and what they need and want together. So before I do that, let me finish Jupiter in Cancer. As you hit the thumbs up and likes button, do remember August 24th is the early bird for the 5 shamans, mystics, and oracles that we're taking in, okay? And we start September 20th, but the early bird ends soon. And there are payment plans for you available. So we're doing, again, with Jupiter and Cancer is about bridging these diverse parts of our emotions, our behaviors, our feelings, our stories, our past, and the present that we are preparing to blast ourselves off into the future. So the preparation we're doing today and that we did before is allowing us to bridge this gap with AI and that we're coming into, because Cancer is a little afraid of what the potentials of AI is about. How do we belong as shamans? How do we belong as spiritual beings? How do we belong, okay, as these gurus, mentors, guides, you know, spiritual compasses that our past has always guided us through? How do we integrate with that when it comes to artificial intelligence? Because the world is here, the future is here, it is now. And there's going to be a lot of fear that's going to come just because you don't know. And that's one of the reasons why in the Alchemical Circle of AI, I decided as a shaman, I want to help us bridge that gap. So check the 5 weeks and we'll get into that deeper. Now, this sacred code of conduct is going to be a ritual that bonds the individuals, you, and the collective, all of us, into an alignment of personal service as well as higher social ideals. This is what Jupiter is about, social ideals with the interpersonal relationships into the collective. So I have a role and you have a role that impacts the collective. And as we understand that, we all start to feel like we belong in a world that is becoming more and more foreign to us day by day. Think about your grandparents and how far stretched the whole concept and the social dynamics is artificial intelligence. Like they weren't even born with computers. And now we're talking about Facebook, right? And groups and belonging and Facebook and Instagram. And they didn't even have that born. MySpace, they didn't have all that stuff, right? YouTube, they didn't have that stuff. That stuff was only 10 to 15 years old for YouTube, right? And now we're talking AI and it's like, oh my God, they're still alive And the thing is, time is moving so quickly, and this brings a jolt to your nervous system. So this is why I talked about today the social nerves of union and the codes of conduct of how do we bridge the old and the new, embracing what is scary about it, but also enlightening and having a spiritual awakening collective through our individual roles. So for me, for example, this is my part with community through our membership, as well as through like this 5-week alchemical circle, where we can do this. Now, the expanded insight of this Sabian symbol of Jupiter and Cancer, it's a unifier, but it's not just calling us to join, okay? It wants us to literally consecrate, okay? So when you talk about how do you interpret the Sabian symbol of, what is this, 19 degrees? 19 degrees of Jupiter and Cancer, which is right here, exalted, right? In my tarot deck, I have a tarot deck combining the degrees, all the degrees, 0 to 30, related to the major arcana. I think it's like $19 on my website. You can grab that, and it will help you understand rituals, meditations, invocations, how to interact and call on spirits at 19 degrees of Jupiter. I actually believe it's linked and related to the justice card. So we're talking divine justice. So that's possible. You can get that on my website. But a little bit further, when we look at it, let's talk about spiritual stewardship of a man or a woman who is, you know, really expressing their conscious concern for the integrity of human society as we integrate and embrace artificial intelligence. Okay, how do you use artificial intelligence, which is learning how to do video edits by you teaching it to video edit for you to become more productive so that you can actually take the complexities of your spiritual knowing and turn it into content that can actually be communicated on your YouTube, on your Instagram, on your platforms in a way that people can understand. And it's like, how do you take this mystical knowledge? How do you take shamanic wisdom and actually communicate this in ways where it's no longer as simple as a riddle that the people have to unravel? Where, yeah, maybe there's a riddle involved because this is a part of trickster energy. It teaches us by allowing us to receive the information, the intellect, the knowledge, the ancient wisdom in a way that actually makes sense. And we're breaking down very complex and archaic proverbs and understandings with the help of artificial intelligence in ways that would take a person a lifetime to do, or multiple lifetimes. And so what you're going to see, and what's very scary for Jupiter and Cancer on this eclipse in Pisces, okay, is slowing down and resting enough so that we can actually embrace what it means to be divinely receptive, aka understanding that this tool of artificial intelligence, it's already here, and it will help us to, as an entire collective, as individuals like myself and you who are leading your own right, your own spiritual stewardship, how we will actually bring forth not just a revolution, not just a new world, not just a future reality, okay, but to bridge and merge that archaic and that shamanic wisdom with that future. And it's happening rapidly. And for Cancer, this is scary. So the Sabian symbol is representing a unifier to consecrate the spiritual stewardship, but especially with the everyday institutions. Okay, this is what's key. I'm going to help you understand why. The everyday institutions, when you talk about racial ideals that have actually progressed in its form of embodiment. So we look at things like ICE and the immigration systems and the image, okay, that's out there when you talk about the media and Trump, and you talk about Palestine, and you talk about Ukraine and Russia, and you talk about immigration happening here in Mexico and expats becoming a target in Mexico as the president, okay, social ideals, racial constructs, is inviting more expats while her citizens, aka Mexicans, specifically in Mexico City and the neighborhood of Condesa and Roma Norte, specifically for now, is feeling like rent is rising. There's these social ideals that are being challenged, these norms, these prices rising, which is requiring us to shift, to change, which again is a lot of this Jupiter and Cancer. How do we shift? How do we change? How do we go like a crab Jupiter and Cancer side to side. This eclipse in Pisces will help us to actually initiate, not just a closing, but to initiate the shift, the change, because Pisces is a mutable energy, which allows us to dissolve where we once were stuck. The systems, Aquarius, which are flat out not working, which is where Pluto in Aquarius has its bearings, as we talk about Saturn, okay, which is still, I believe currently, I need to see it. Is that? Yes, Saturn is now going back into Pisces during the eclipse. So Aquarius, which is right here, Pluto in Aquarius, has to now listen once again to something it has already heard with Saturn and Pisces. Before we go back into Aries, where we initiate the brand new beginning, we have to finish up the story, the experience, the mythical journey, the closure that has shifted Aquarius and in a radical way, jolting it forward, saying, hey, Aquarius, I need you to work with Cancer. Hey, Cancer, I need you to work with Aquarius. And both of them are very stubborn for change. Yet and however, they're actually magnificent conductors of revolution, conductors of change, because they both have Aquarius, the intellectual processing system to manage the chaos, which right here in the eclipse, opposite Virgo, another manager of tremendous and extreme upheaval and chaos. When you talk about the South Node in Virgo, allowing us to do this like a loyal dog. And a loyal dog doesn't judge or want or desire whether you give him a treat or not. He loves you. Whether you do something cruel or not, somehow he just smiles at you anyway. This is K2 represented by dogs in Virgo. So the dogs in this instance is the loyalty that we have to our work, the loyalty we have to our co-workers, the loyalty we have to our passions that are more service driven rather than selfish, okay? The selfishness of Virgo to work for your own resources is one element, because you feel like I need to survive. But because the North Node is conjunct this eclipse in Pisces, the North Node is saying, I'm actually sending you through a whirlwind of difference, of change, of rest. And only through boredom will you be divinely guided to the type of work you're here to do. Only through trust will you be divinely guided to the new mission, the divine path, will you be able to walk with grace. All right. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button if you're rocking with this message. I appreciate you for sharing this and getting this out there. Let me know in the comments what you're feeling, what you want to know about on this eclipse. Okay, let me know what house is being activated for your Pisces. All right, for your Pisces, what house do you have Pisces? Drop it in the chat down below. Now, another huge and a key thing we have to understand in this eclipse in Pisces is, look at this, Pisces. The North Node and Pisces moon is conjunct, yes? But guess what? We are having very harmonious reception, okay? This is called mutual reception, right? Because the moon is run by Cancer, and Cancer is run by, and Pisces is run by Jupiter. Meaning what? This is called mutual reception. And so when Pisces is in the moon, Cancer's domain, and the moon is in, when Pisces is in the moon, and Cancer is in Jupiter, mutual reception, when they switch and flip-flop, I see you, J-Lo, I'll get to that in a moment. When you switch and flip-flop, they understand each other. Not only do they understand each other by default right here, but they're both water signs. Jupiter is one of water. It is also solar, but it's one of water. The women that meet by the river and they gossip and talk about the tribe. and they share wisdoms with each other while the men are at war. And they are the wise counsel. And the moon representing our instincts and the mental processes that we experience while the men are at war, between the women, now in Pisces. They're giving us tremendous and ancient guidance in this trine. And what this trine really does, okay, moon trine Jupiter, it allows us to release the resistance, all right, and actually welcome the blessings, but with open arms. And to walk into our next existence, our next reality, but with grace, with flow, with passion, okay? A forceful and emotional beginning, while simultaneously having a graceful and a lucid presence, okay? With ease. The emotional landscape of the eclipse, okay? Like I said, it is that priest, but the priest is not just here to officiate, okay? They are enabling a powerful union, and that's what the 19 degrees of this whole ruler, Jupiter and Pisces, Jupiter and Cancer, excuse me, is about. Allowing a heart to surrender and allowing a nervous system to reset. And that's the social nerves that we will be feeling with people around you. People will be socially anxious. Not just because it's an eclipse, but because of the specifics of the degrees that I'm talking about with these Sabian symbols. There's going to be a social nervousness. People will be very busy, moving, not very productive. The best productivity you have right now, I'm telling you, is to stay still, to rest, to chill, to go to the beach. Okay. So before I move into the next aspects, okay, and then I'm gonna get into J-Lo's 10th house Jupiter, 10th house Pisces, okay, with Mars and Lilith. Ooh, I like that. Hold up. Okay. I remind you this, okay? You yourself are the ceremonial holder. Ushering that union, ushering the transformation, tying together rest, but with rest with worthiness. You have to feel, you have an opportunity. You don't have to do anything, but you have an opportunity to feel worthy, okay? You have an opportunity to feel abundant as we initiate this new form and sense of living and coexisting with your divine direction, North Node in Pisces, that feels emotionally safe and secure, conjunct the moon in Pisces. Okay? Again, you will be linking the past lessons and the future expansions, honoring and anchoring the ancestry. All right? While also birthing a brand new potential, cardinal energy of Jupiter, Jupiter in Cancer. So in order for us to do that, we have to really embody these spiritual codes. We really need to embody grace, flow, compassion, gentleness, all right? And I'm about to get into the last, I have 5 prompts I'm going to send out on my email list. So if you're on my email list, look forward to that. I'm sending 5 prompts out for each element: earth, air, wind, fire, and water. Each element, I'm going to send out a writing prompt. I'm also going to send out a shamanic ritual that you can try leading up to this eclipse in Pisces. So stay tuned for that. You're going to be Gucci. I like this a lot. It's going to be an invocation ritual, and it's going to be super powerful. It's going to be one for the marriage of the ancestor and the algorithm. All right? So if you're down for that, let me know if you're interested. And just say yes in the chat below. Just say yes. And let that yes be the acceptance of your abundance that's already at your front door knocking. Let that yes just be the call and the embrace of everything you've already called in. Just say yes in the chat. Like I told you earlier, I just said yes. And I thank you for that thumbs up. I do appreciate you. Now, let's get into these more specific elements, and I'm going to more speed shot this, okay? Moon in Pisces, Sun in the North Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces, Venus in Leo, okay? We're going to talk about these briefly on the Sabian Symbol. So the Moon in Pisces is at 15 degrees. I have not yet talked about this, but it is a drill officer with his men. And, you know, the drill officer and the men represent somewhat of a community and actually allowing us to invite the discipline in order for us to prepare for the collective union. All right. And so understand the energy of a drill officer. Like, he may seem mean up front, he may seem like, but he's really trying to get you to survive the transition, to survive the war, to feel like you belong in turmoil with the people you are training with, so that when you are not actually in front of the drill officer anymore and you are at war, which can equate to the battles, the difficulties, the challenges, the indiscretions, the trickery, the deception that you may face emotionally speaking as you walk towards your divine path, North Node and Pisces. This represents the discipline you've done with that drill sergeant when you are in the middle of deception, when you want to lie to yourself, when you want to backtrack, when you want to go back into the past and forget the algorithm. Okay, this is where the drill sergeant, this moon in Pisces at 15 degrees, will help and support you. And again, remember, I do have my degree point theory. It's a course. It's an entire, like, I think it's like a 96-page PDF giving you all the major arcanas tied to a degree that I did manually by myself. And so there's a curated system, so you can't find this system anywhere. You could do degree point theory. It's all everywhere. It's everywhere. But I combined and fused them with the major arcana. So that's on my website. I think it's $19 to go ahead and get that. Next, we have the sun. Okay, the sun in Virgo, conjunct. All right. Is it exact? No, 3 degrees away. So we have the sun, 15-degree Virgo, which represents an ornamental handkerchief, reminding us that grace, refinement, and ancestral legacy is a part of this entire work that we are doing in service. And so it's like, let me move up on my notes. So Virgo, we know Virgo represents refinement, yes. But what are we refining? Okay, the key we're refining right now is a heritage bound by restraint. Okay. Hola, ¿cómo estás, Ramos? ¿Estás en Guadalajara o qué? Okay, so the heritage is bound by restraint, but it's bringing us towards a refined and legacy-driven mission where we drive this legacy with more grace and not by grinding into the work that we feel called to do, but allowing the authenticity and the softness to play a role. Because what we don't like to respect fully about Virgo is the sun in Virgo is ruled by the 12th house, and the 12th house is a very soft, gentle, and divinely guided house that doesn't have a head. It's K2. 12th house is K2, and K2 doesn't have a head, so it doesn't have a direction of where it's going, but it does have wisdom from the past life. So Virgo is consciously focused on the fact that it is consistently driven by the loyalty to its spiritual practices that allows it to feel safe and guided towards the chaos that it is navigating. And that's what this that's what the South Node conjunct the sun is really about when we talk about the heritage bound restraint towards refining this legacy with softness, not with effort, not with a grind. Let's check in with J-Lo. So funny you said speed shot and a motor is in the back from a car. Thank you. Hit that thumbs up and a likes button. So we move to our next point. The North Node in Pisces is at 18 degrees. So the Sabian symbol for that, okay, is you hit the thumbs up and the likes button. The Sabian symbol for North Node in Pisces is one that pushes you forward, okay? Let me see, what's the symbol itself? Okay, the symbol itself is a gigantic tent. And this tent, the essence of the tent is like a circus. Okay, when a circus comes in town, what do? They set up a big tent. And you have the acrobats, they're flipping and they're moving, and it's funny, it's ironic. In my complex right now, I have people from Argentina, people from Las Vegas, and a bunch of other places. They've all come together under the community, and some of them don't even speak the same language, and they're in a circus performing Pekin, which is like Chinese arts, Chinese theatrical arts, P-E-K-I-N. I could be pronouncing that wrong with the accent, Pekin. And my point of being, like, nobody here is Chinese doing this, but it's what I'm saying when I say this eclipse in Pisces is a consecration. It's a union. It's a spiritual stewardship where we do come take our individual talents and gifts. A woman from Argentina, a woman from Las Vegas, a woman from China, one from Mexico, bringing them all together under one roof, a tent, and a gigantic tent, which is the North Node in Pisces, is represented by being an entertainer, being a teacher, being a priest, okay? But as well as doing it in a way where we are publicly performing our spiritual rites of passage, okay? And what's magical about this is really where we show the true orchestration of unity, coming together no matter what your race is, no matter what your class, no matter your economic status. And organizing collective inspiration in a way that is literally revealing a shared awakening. Something that is a shared awakening, let's say, for example, is the advancements through humor, the advancements through amusement when we perform. Everybody likes to laugh. Everybody feels good when they laugh. Everybody releases, as a human being, endorphins when they experience laughter or amusement or fun or going to a show. Maybe not everybody likes the show, but in general, hopefully, if the show is meant to be funny or if the show is meant to be like a spectacle, like, wow, how do you do that? Where I'm not necessarily laughing, but I'm impressed that the circus under this tent is able to do what they're doing. And this Pisces full moon is really about that. So understand that a lot of us are becoming entertainers, we're becoming teachers, we're becoming priests in the sense where you're becoming the spiritual guru, you're becoming the advisor, you're becoming the guide, the moral compass as we merge into AI, the future, with the past, our wisdoms. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up and the likes button. So now next we have Leo and Venus at 15 degrees. And why this matters, as you see here, okay, you got Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus. And you have Mars here. So Mars is in the picture, healing our wounds across to Aries on this eclipse. So when we look at Venus being ruled by, or Libra being ruled by Venus, Mars being the ruler of Aries, okay, see that? Mutual reception again. Okay, there's a lot, but this one's in opposition. This is not water to water like Jupiter and the moon that we talked earlier. This one's fire and air, who still get along when they get through their complexities. My point being, Venus is ruling Leo, and this is where the performance really lies, okay? So this quincunx coming from Venus and Leo, quincunx in the moon and Pisces. At 15 degrees, this Sabian symbol represents us spending time in an unconstrained, polite society. You know, Libra likes to be polite. Libra likes to be kind. Where it's a moment of expansion for Pisces at that 15 degrees. Okay, and so here's what I mean, right? This is suggesting that we release the formalities because Libra likes to be so formal that it may lose a little bit of its authenticity, which is what on this moon in Pisces is allowing us to surrender and just stop caring about judgment, because Pisces doesn't have the ego or the critical mind to judge. It just accepts and embraces you as love. Like I say, K2 is in the picture and K2 is egoless. It's about releasing our criticism right here in Virgo, okay? So where's Mercury in this process? That's a really good question. To see who's running. I don't see Mercury on my screen. It's probably behind this part right here. So when we release the formalities, we actually allow ourselves to be more creative, to embrace play, to engage with the theatrical authenticity, but in tribe, the theatrical authenticity in circle. So I recently had, an exit reflection with somebody from my membership, and one of the things she said she loved the most is like, I can learn, on the internet all day long, but I really enjoy coming to the membership because I get to engage, and it's actually the divine downloads and insights I get while engaging with other people, especially from different languages, different cults, different sectors, different cultures, okay, different ideologies. Because we're coming from different countries, it's when I get an intuitive insight that is collective within the membership itself, or within the alchemical circle, now I'm actually not just practicing these spiritual and these shamanic activations that we're doing through these meditations and these invocations and these breath works and this qigong, which happens again this Sunday, by the way. We go through the psychisms of water. We're practicing water abilities of Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio, 2 of those which is a part of this eclipse. So come check out our membership this Sunday. All right. She said this is the part she's going to miss the most. Her schedule just happens to change and she's not going to be able to make the meetings, but she's like, yeah, I want to learn through your courses, but I really want to learn through your membership because doing it live, I can be myself. Like I can be theatrical, where she went into a trance state and she's channeling and she's not worried about judgment of, wait, who am I? And like, am I the person I'm channeling? Am I myself? And I told her, like, just let it go. Like, be in the trance. You're in a group full of shamans. We all go through trance states, right? Like, we're all in a trance state consistently. Be in the trance. It's okay. It's safe. And so part of this eclipse is going to allow us to feel safe within the proper community. So the question is, if you don't feel like you belong, Jupiter and Cancer right here, in the community where you are, where you could actually just explore. Another one of our members, for example, when she was in a trance state, her voice changed. It became powerful and potentially dark and terrifying. And she commanded space. She commanded power through presence in a way where this woman's voice became so deep, so mythical, so engaging, so enlightening, so terrifying, literally intimidating to those who fear the lion because they don't understand the lion. They don't understand that the lion is not here to eat everybody. The lion is not a terrifying creature. The lion is majestic. It is royal and it is regal. The lion actually rests and is lazy. And it is something that commands through presence, not because it roars. And so these are 2 different examples with our members. This is how I can best explain Venus and Leo playing a role in this quincunx relationship between that and the moon here in Pisces. I really do enjoy teaching this way. If you enjoy me teaching this way with the charts up on screen, just say yes down below in the chat. And that lets me know, like, yes, I'm going to bring up these on the screen more. It's a new modality of me teaching. I enjoy it, but you're the viewer, you're the watcher. Like, does it help you? Do you enjoy it? Is it beneficial for your learning and your practice? Because you matter more than what I potentially enjoy, even though I want to find the middle ground of my passion and giving you service. So let me know in the chat if you enjoy it. Say yes down below in the chat. Yes. Say yes to life. Say yes to love. Say yes to sex. Say yes to fun. Say yes to joy. Just say yes. All right. Say yes, 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 yes. All right, here we go. Now we have another quincunx relationship. This moon is complex. Moon in Pisces over here we have a quincunx to Mars and Libra. That's another reason why I have Mars and Libra in the mix. So we understand this complexity. I know there's many enjoy the visual. It's amazing to express others so they can follow. Thank you. I appreciate you, J-Lo. Say yes to life. All right, here we go. I do appreciate that, J-Lo, because it does take time to create these things. You know what I mean? Like these things don't just manifest themselves. All right. However, I can help you understand that I am using AI to actually help me to generate content to make my life easier so I can focus on sharing the message rather than creating the message, which is actually not true because I'm still creating the message. However, I think you get the point, okay? I spend a lot more time on creativity, which can become exhausting. So this is one of the ways where I know my Cancer and Aquarius has actually found a way to merge on this whole entire eclipse that I'm talking about in Pisces. So, did I cover the last one yet? Okay, so the last one, the quincunx between Mars and Libra and the North Node in Pisces, not the Moon. The Moon is not quincunxing. The North Node in Pisces is. The symbol is a Jewish rabbi at Libra 20 degrees, okay? And what this represents is literally the calm authority. It's being rooted in tradition. Like Jewish tradition, for example, is very well rooted. It's very very well constructed through many generations, through many eons, it feels like at this point. And, you know, through that, you see that they're able to run the entertainment industry. Literally, we talked about the entertainment and the theatrical. They run the music industry, the entertainment industry, that you can consider Pisces and Leo. Hollywood, okay, which is Neptune and Aries, which will go back into Pisces and back into Aries, as we start a brand new form of Hollywood, okay? So the calm authority that you have when you are stepping into your spiritual teachings as the priest, as the guide, as the one people look up to, as the one they look for in moments of crisis, as the one they look for when their faith gets shaken, okay? When their grace is out of tune and not really graceful, and when you understand this complexity between Mars and Libra, okay, the theatrical authenticity you have in circle and tribe and community, whether that's our membership or whether that's our Alchemical Circle of AI, which you have a chance to join, it's about learning how to participate, through the symbolism of the inner and the outer, in a lineage of wisdom, in a lineage of the future, aka the present, which is AI now, bringing and bridging, okay, the algorithm of past and present. And I talked about that in my video of, Jupiter and Venus conjunct. So you can check that, Jupiter and Venus conjunct, talk about how we're bridging the past and the present a little bit deeper, and I'll leave it alone for the moment now. So there's a lineage of wisdom that, requires a certain sense of authority through calmness as you share spiritual principles with integrity and a defined moral compass as you engage artificial intelligence with morals and consider, what are my morals? How can I engage with spiritual morals with this algorithm of the future? So when we weave the whole story together, I remind you again, on my email list, we're going to give out 5 prompts: earth, air, wind, fire, ether. We're going to give out 5 writing prompts. I'm going to give out a sacred invocation ritual that you can focus and do, a shamanic rite of not just meditation, but invocation, okay? Focusing on how to do these shamanic practices. I'm going to give it on my email list. So hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Stay tuned for that email list. If you're not on there, just say email in the chat, and I'll give you the direct link to get onto the email list on this eclipse. So when I look at the final reflections, here's the thing, all of us are orchestrating a beautiful and cosmic blueprint, not just for the future, but for the present moment, for the now, where discipline is literally meeting, okay, the divine creative play that is in all of us. Discipline is one of the key, like you said, with this moon, represented a drill sergeant. So we have to actually engage these spiritual workings and creations that we're being divinely guided to do by the North Node, that we receive through rest and boredom. We will then be able to step into the portal and understand that just because it's a full moon, just because it's a lunar eclipse, which is about a full moon, normally about closing, that is not as simple as a closing. It's more realistically an initiation, okay, into a future lineage of yours, aka Jupiter in Cancer, future Jupiter in Cancer, belonging, where you're going to belong in the future. We have to take moral considerations, when it comes to the spiritual and the, intellectual and artificial intelligence, and how we engage with that ethically with a very powerful and disciplined moral compass into a deeper form of rest, healing, and soulful abundance. But it goes deeper than that, understanding that, your AI circle is becoming a liminal space, right? It's like becoming the like in the Superman realm, when he's like in that phantom realm, okay? Where you stay and remain structured, but you also are experiencing fluidity, okay? You stay radiant, yet you remain grounded in your preparations and your actions and the steps that you take. You don't just shoot for the stars without aiming for something specific and allowing yourself to step back into the structure. And this is really where, each week that we go through, and I think about the alchemical process, the alchemical circle of artificial intelligence, which the early bird link is down below, is pinned in the chat. Maybe that's up top for you. We'll be going through a living elemental journey, a Sabian journey each week, where, the path of preparation, of grace, of expression, okay, of unity, of harmonious teaching, of spiritual archetypes and ancient and archaic wisdoms that we're using artificial intelligence to guide us through the algorithms of the future will really help through inspired, which is really Virgo. Virgo is where inspired illumination, inspired action occurs. Leo can just act because it just does, because it's curious with variety, which is how it has a sextile energy naturally to Gemini through its curiosity. But Virgo is not just curious. Virgo is the one who sits and it allows itself to be guided by source, by spirit, by angels, by the divine. Though you may not think of it that way, it is the seams of a soulful reality that stitches itself together in the dark, where it cannot fully see. And through inspired illumination is why Virgo represents the Hermit card in tarot. So again, you can check out my Major Arcana in my tarot deck. It is Major Arcana combining the degree point theories. You understand what is 15 degrees, what's 13 degrees, based off the tarot if you're really engaged and interested in tarot. And so, when I look at that full circle, it feels like I hit the primary message that we're here to do today. The eclipse is really asking us to rest the old ways of our nervous system and the burnout that we have gone through and experienced, the eclipse in Pisces, allowing us to release the false sense of entitlement in order for us to witness our illuminated moments, witness our innate divinity that has been consistently flowing and operating, not just through us as an individual, but being given to us through the collective and through reflections, through the mirror of our relationships, Mars and Libra, who trigger us, Chiron and Aries, opposition, Mars and Libra going quincunx to this mirror being the moon in Pisces, okay? Releasing the false sense of worthiness, but feeling worthy in truth, okay? Which Venus and Leo is teaching us so that we can step into a flow of what is considered true abundance, where it's like, you have to really, really consider what do you want to be abundant in, like releasing the shackles that abundance is tied to your status at work or your title that you have achieved as an executive chief officer of, you know what I'm saying? Like all these names and titles. That's what we're cutting away on this eclipse with Mars and Libra going to the endings and initiations of our true identity, because the moon is ruled by the fifth house of the self, of worthiness that I need to experience for me, not for my coworkers, not for my mom, not for my family, not for my parents, because I don't belong to them when it comes to my joy. My joy does not belong to my family. My joy does not belong to the collective. My joy belongs to my personal actions, discernment, and acceptance of myself. That's the fifth house of Pisces, acceptance of my spiritual knowing, acceptance of God within my soul, God that exists within my heart. Letting go of this artificial, embrace where I feel I need to be accepted by other people more than I embrace my truth, my knowing, my direction, myself, my power, Let go of the struggles that you experience in your relationship dynamics on this full moon, on this lunar eclipse in Pisces. Understand that abundance itself is not stress. Abundance itself is not striving. Like I said, you should be happy to get paid laying down in bed. That's how you should feel. You should feel like, yeah. And you should be saying yes and smile and not immediately get up. I had to retrain my nervous system. Anytime I would get paid, I'd like be resting or something. I'd get up and start working because I feel like, oh man, I got to earn this dollar. And it's like, no, like stay down, keep laying, go meditate, do breath work in that moment. Write down why I'm grateful for that, because that is true abundance. Not to feel like I need to go work just because I got paid. It's like I already put that effort in. That's why I got paid. I don't need to put more effort in now to prove that I'm worth this payment. So abundance is not stress. Abundance is not striving, That's not what it means to thrive. But abundance is more so a soulful form of acceptance, Through inspired brilliance, through inspired illumination. Abundance is comfort. The comfort of the food you eat, the comfort of the plants that you take care of, the comforts of the friends that you've made, the comforts of the joys that you experience, the comforts of the things you find beautiful, Venus and Leo. The comfort of this feeling of safety that, I'm not working paycheck to paycheck. I'm not worried about will I be able to pay my rent or my electricity bill. That is abundance, at least in my world. You have to define abundance for yourself, okay? And so understand as well, this is really where your mystical invitation to lead from a graceful teaching, to lead from a sense of soulful abundance on this eclipse, and Pisces to lead from a safe network where you can be more theatrical and act like yourself and go into trance states and your voice begin to alter and embrace everything magical about your existence. Embrace the fact that you like tarot and stop being a closet freak on your tarot. Embrace the fact that you enjoy being a medium and talking to spirits and communicating with the dead. Enjoy the fact that you feel radiant when you are in a Reiki healing session and that you want to become the Reiki healer and not just study it in private and not share it out loud. Like I said, there's a very public element to your spiritual teachings, doings, and activations on this lunar eclipse in Pisces, which you talked about one of the Sabian symbols earlier. And so when I look at it like that, for me, that means the Shaman's Roundtable, which is, again, our upcoming meeting is this Sunday. Come check us out. We're learning how to practice 4 psychic abilities between Pisces, Cancers, and Scorpios this Sunday. So feel free, join our tribe. All right, we're embracing 3 new members this month. But more importantly, I would even say in the moment, because that's always existing, the early bird, remember, August 24th, we're taking in 5 shamans in our alchemical circle of artificial intelligence, where we are embracing a space where we are merging the shamanic work, the shamanic activations, the shamanic practices with literally the art of ethical AI engagement via the algorithms, ethical AI engagement that allows us to guide humanity with our spiritual knowings and the awakenings that are occurring, that have been occurring since 2020 and sooner and earlier, 5 years later, that's actually allowing humanity to move and push forward beyond these racial discriminations that you see in the news, these heated conflicts globally speaking, these artificial wars that are here to distract you from the truth that we are actually becoming closer and closer to a united front as a human race than ever before, which is why more and more distractions are needed to be created to distract you from the truth. And the truth is that we are more connected today than we have ever been. The external image right here is what we were being asked to cut away from, acting like we are not, as a people, the moon and Pisces, as a collective mind and emotional understanding of I am you and you and me, that we are not actually in harmony already. We have already been in harmony. We are harmonious by default. The illusions and the constructs that have been set up from birth of you having your umbilical cord cut, having a trauma from birth, this is Chiron and Aries, literally from birth you are Mars being cut into a system, Mars and Libra, where your identity and your nourishment, okay, is already being severed from birth with your umbilical cord. Rather allow this placenta to fall out, the umbilical cord to fall out and get all the blood, which is Mars and or Aries, the blood to drain completely from the mother to the baby so it can have all of its minerals and its nutrients and all of its divine wisdom passed down from the mother to the mother to the mother, from the heritage to the heritage to the heritage, from one cultural tradition to the next, to the next, to the next. We're severing that stuff early, but the thing is, ironically, artificial intelligence is actually going to allow us to start to bridge that gap of that wisdom that used to come very natural to us just by being born and keeping the umbilical cord connected until it decided to fall off. So we're not gonna, as a people, it's showing like we've already overcoming this one form of disconnection by reconnecting with, again, the algorithm of the future. And so here's the irony, as you hit that thumbs up and the likes button, this is a spiritual stewardship. This lunar eclipse in Pisces, this is a spiritual stewardship. All right, this is a marrying, this is a union of your social nervous system. Social meaning you and I talking, meaning you and everybody on this platform, the 8 people of you watching, the 20 of you that have it on here at some point, the more of you that watch this afterwards, This is now where we vow, pretty much like a priest in ceremony, to create the union, the marriage, okay, of our nervous system, the union, the marriage of our harmony, the union, the marriage of our shamanic and past wisdom, as well as the future and artificial intelligence constructs, the union of our ancestors, as well as the union of our future generations. Okay, the bridging of the gap. We're able to do this right now. Like I said, August 24th, the early bird exists. The pen thing is here. We're doing this in a 5-week, meeting every Saturday. All right. Alchemical Mentorship, where you can engage in this. All right. We actually do begin. Remember, again, September 20th is day one to start. But on the 24th, the early bird will end. So that's about, what, 8 days or so that you have. And do send me an email. Send me a WhatsApp message. Talk to me. Again, I don't expect you to just sign up right away. But if you feel good in your nervous system, you can do that. It is possible. The link exists. But if you want to talk to me first, send me an email. Send me a WhatsApp message. You can do that. Or just say me down in the chat. And if I see you, I can send you my WhatsApp link personally. And you can get that. And you can talk. If you feel like you need a bridge before you go into something deeper like that, start off with our membership. It's $33 a month. It's a very small entry fee. You can understand and learn, what do we really do behind closed scenes? Because this is where the real joy happens. So when I look at the teaching segment of this circle, we're going to be practicing shamanic activations through voice, shamanic activations through breath, shamanic activations through ritual, okay? The ethical AI as a compass for our spiritual integrity. And how do we bridge the gap of the two of these? Building a community, but in a safe space. I know you hear this safe space being talked about all over, but I feel like if you look at my eyes and you feel into my heart and you see into my soul, you understand very clearly. You knew a long time ago, if you're watching this, that I have always been who I am, and I will never switch. No matter how much things change in the world, I will always stay integral. Through a safe container where the gigantic tent, which was the South Node in Virgo, okay, at 15 degrees, that's the gigantic tent where we focus on these theatrical and these spiritual performances, okay, of the North Node in Pisces. Actually, I think it was North Node in Pisces. It was North Node in Pisces, not the South Node. South Node was the handkerchief that we talked about as a Sabian symbol. It's about stepping into the radiant, heart-centered leadership, okay, soulful connections, and going deeper into with this Venus and Leo energy at 15 degrees, Queen Kungsing, right here, this moon in Pisces. It's going to be guiding our expression. So again, if you've been waiting for a sign, as your role to step into embodied guidance, to step into your role as a trusted spiritual leader, a trusted spiritual teacher on the front, leading humanity to its truth, to the truth that exists now. Not that we have to create. We are already in harmony. We just need to remember that we are already in harmony. And Pisces eclipse is going to wake up a ton of people to remember that you are consciously creating and you are consistently dreaming, that you are not here to have a spiritual awakening, but some need to think about, I went through a spiritual awakening to understand I am a consistent spiritual dreamer where I consciously create the reality and lead the reality of harmony, okay? Where we walk in union. This is your invitation from me to you, from our community to you, all right, to join our 5-week alchemical circle of AI. And I say this, don't wait, join me. Send me a message today. Send me an email today. Learn more, ask. What is it about? What do you need to know? Well, we walk together an oath where you apply through this journey your gifts. You apply your gifts. You apply through the activations that we do. Because again, we don't just talk. We practice magic. I am a freaking ancient magician through lifetimes that I cannot even express to you on live. But you can learn this stuff. You can ask the questions. I am a generator. So when you ask questions, guess what? You get the exact answer you want. And those of you who feel afraid to ask questions, it's okay to accept that you're not fully ready to embrace that you want what you want, that you're ready to accept your desire. But when you are ready, I am a generator. You will get the exact and the precise answer. I am a 5-1 generator. You will see the depths of your soul. And that is scary. So I'm not going to pretend, I'm not going to front. And that's also okay. You can accept and embrace that and support in other ways just by hitting a thumbs up and that likes button. And if you're brand new, subscribing. And I would appreciate that. So do like, subscribe this message, and share it with somebody who's ready to step into leadership. If it's not you, you feel like you're not ready, share it to someone who's ready to step into soul-led, archaic, and futuristic generations of harmony and abundance where you are the leader, hitting that thumbs up and a light spot. Remember that you are the blessing. You've earned this right, and it's no longer time to wait, because the eclipse will create those initiation factors, and they come in September 7th. So we are beginning literally 2 weeks after the eclipse, in between our second eclipse. Can you imagine how powerful it is to start something like a 5-week shamanic alchemical circle of artificial intelligence in between 2 eclipses? I promise you, by this time next year, you will not recognize yourself, but it will be the most powerful, potent, and exciting thing that has ever happened in your life. You are ready. Your soul has been yearning because you are listening to this message. You want this. Give yourself this abundance and just tell the universe, I want this. I am ready. And watch it remove any and all barriers, even if it challenges you, because Pisces is the journey person, the journey woman, the journey man, through trickster energy. And like I said, check out our email list, because I'll be sending out 5 alchemical writing prompts that you can try for earth, air, wind, fire, and ether, as well as a ritual and an invocation, okay, that you can do leading up to this Pisces moon. So if you want this invocation, you want to practice this within a community, this Sunday on a shorter notice, our members are meeting, $33 a month. Our members are meeting, you'll get included in our WhatsApp group, and we meet this Sunday, and that's a possibility for you. I want to say I love you, I thank you, I will see you soon. Thank you for joining this lunar eclipse message. Share this video and hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Love.